Keep in mind, Tyler Terry, 26-year-old murder suspect, had been on the run for a week in the woods here in the Chester County area.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Eric Moser here with Code Red Conversations. Thanks for joining me. In today's video, we're going to be going over a recent arrest of a murder suspect in South Carolina. But before we jump into the video, if you appreciate content that helps you better understand the police use of force and all things related to policing in general, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my future content. As I was stating, in today's video, we're going to be going over a homicide suspect who was recently taken into custody. Jump right into the video. And as always, I'll comment here and there when I think it's helpful.
WCNC Charles Billie Jean Shaw has been on the story from the very beginning. She's live now in Chester County. Billie Jean, the sheriff's just wrapping up an update a few minutes ago. It sounds like this is the end they've been hoping for. They got him in custody, and they did so safely.
They did so safely. No shots were fired. No officers were harmed. And Tyler Terry was not harmed.
Keep that in mind. No sheriffs were injured. No officers injured. No shots fired. But let's pay attention to why that was the case.
Either the sheriff of Chester County, Max Dorsey, just finished wrapping up and walking us through what the details of this capture. Tyler Terry was captured around 10:30 this morning. I'm hoping back there in the booth, you guys can pull up those pictures that I just tweeted. You can see him sitting on the back of law enforcement's truck. His clothes were torn. They were actually giving him water. Keep in mind, Tyler Terry, 26-year-old murder suspect, had been on the run for a week in the woods here in the Chester County area.
I want to point out this image we're looking at. Let me make it a little bigger just to help y'all out. Here you have a murder suspect. And stay tuned to the end of this video because we're going to dig deeper into who Tyler Terry was and what he was accused of. Shocking. Shocking. So keep this in mind here. Then you also hear the reference point or the point being made in regard to how Dylan Roof was treated when he was arrested. The guy in Charleston, South Carolina, who shot up that church, the white dude. Oh, man, they stopped and got him something to eat. But here you see this dude out in the woods in South Carolina, murder suspect. Obviously, being a murder suspect, you know the dude has questionable history. But once again, wait until you see the article I shared with y'all when we go a little bit deeper into his history. But here you see these guys giving them Gatorade to drink. The typical narrative is that they would never do this for a black man. This only happens with white folks. But here you see them just taking care of this guy's basic needs. And what I want to say to y'all is that things like this happen all the time, but you just never hear about it. Nowadays, it's always framed from a racial or ethnic perspective to demonstrate how the police are biased, how the police are bigoted. This right here flies right in the face of that. This shoots that argument down automatically. But let's continue on with the video. So this video alone should help debunk the anti-cop, racist cop narrative. So keep watching.
In Richburg, and again, take a look at those pics. We just got those pictures from the sheriff's office. You see Tyler Terry there sitting on the back of the truck. This is just moments after he was captured at 10:30 this morning. The sheriff said that Tyler Terry was actually hiding behind a local plant in the perimeter of Highway 9 and Richburg Road. If you remember, he was cited by a police officer yesterday afternoon in broad daylight around 2:30. They saw him walking near Legion Road, and that is when an officer attempted to chase him. They got near a church. It happened for about a mile, and that's when Tyler Terry ran back into the woods. And the reasoning for not sending an officer behind him was that officer was by himself. It was a safety concern. The sheriff says what he did not want to happen was any of his officers, any of the law enforcement agencies that are here from across the state to get harmed. Because keep in mind, this is a very rural area. When you're talking about Chester County, you're talking about what we would call the country, woods, dirt roads. There are no street lights. There are no city lights. It's not anything like Charlotte. So when nightfall happens, it is pitch black. And so what the sheriff says their strategy was, after seeing Tyler Terry, they had officers to surround that entire perimeter. They know that he ran in, and they know that one thing was for sure, he was not going to be able to run back out. And that is what led them to his capture today after.
Good tactics. It might be hard to get in there, but do whatever you can to make sure he doesn't get out. Then you could do a slow, methodical search to find the suspect and apprehend him. It may take a while, but you're doing your best to keep your troops, your officers safe.
For a week-long manhunt. I want to go right now to some sound from Sheriff Max Dorsey. This is what he said moments ago to the condition of Tyler Terry when he was caught.
Now make sure you pay attention to this. Pay attention to his verbiage.
He was tired, thirsty, and I spoke to him and asked him if he was okay. You know, he's all cut up. He's got bug bites. His clothes are torn. You know, he's exhausted. But we've been providing him Gatorade. The EMS personnel went over and checked on him, and he's talking. He's fine.
Now think back a few months ago to the Atlanta shooting where that one dude shot up those massage parlors. And there was an interview by one of the sheriffs or chiefs of police where he demonstrated some concern for this guy's safety overall, and he was vilified in the media. And I'm not saying whether that was justified, his vilification was justified or not. Right off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember him getting hammered in the media, people again trying to make it a race issue, people again trying to make it about skin color. But here you see this white man, sheriff or police or chief of police, talking about this black murder suspect and saying that they asked him if he was okay and giving him Gatorade and having EMS check on him. But you won't hear about, I guarantee you, this won't become a major media story. Why? Because it does not fit. I hate always saying it. I wish I can come up with a different term. I'm actually going to think of try to come up with one, but it will not fit the biased media narrative. They continually want to perpetuate the belief that the cops are racist. So when a situation pops up that demonstrates that the vast majority of cops treat suspects pretty fairly, pretty decently, they won't show it. And most people won't ever hear about it. And they'll only believe the crap that they're told.
Back to those pictures, you heard the sheriff say that they provided, emergency care for Tyler Terry. You can see him on the back of the pickup truck getting Gatorade. One of the things that was interesting about all of this, the sheriff said that, that was important for them to do. Of course, he says they are not the judge or the jury. It was their one job was to capture this man, bring him into custody, and that's what they've been trying to do for the past week. And
I think that was pretty helpful right there to kind of make my case. But let's jump into the article. Let's find out who Tyler Terry really is. Now, I first want to show this headline right here. Quadruple murder suspect arrested after week-long manhunt. An armed and dangerous South Carolina man linked to at least 4 murders in 2 states was arrested Monday after a week-long manhunt, authorities said. Tyler Terry, 26, was taken into custody around 10 a.m. in South Carolina, Chester County, after fleeing from authorities during a May 17th traffic stop and prompting a massive search that came to involve 300 officers. Okay? Oh, by the way, for those of you out there who think that police officers should not carry guns while conducting traffic stops, you have a murder suspect times 4 out there that was caught on a traffic stop. Go figure. Suspects are actually caught during traffic stops. Wanted suspects. Who would have ever thought that? Anyway, let's go on to the next article. A look at Tyler Terry's past gives people a better glimpse of why law enforcement is calling him so dangerous. Same guy. He is as violent of a person as I've ever encountered, said Sheriff Max Dorsey of Chester County Sheriff's Office. Those words come from a sheriff who has been in this business for over 20 years. This comes after at least 4 alleged murders, 7 more alleged attempted murders, and several gun charges. For Dorsey, the danger started the second he says his deputies were shot at. All of those deputies escaped injury or death by the skin of their teeth, says Dorsey. It doesn't get any more revealing about how dangerous someone is than that incident. Looking through Terry's criminal history could reveal it, though. not just in South Carolina, but in North Carolina as well. In 2019, deputies arrested Terry for assaulting Adrian Simpson. The arrest report details a violent attack that Terry hit Simpson in the back with a machete and punched her several times. A little over a year ago, Chester County deputies arrested Terry for first-degree domestic violence. Terry is accused of hitting Simpson so hard she lost hearing in her right ear and her eye was swollen shut. Just a month ago, Myrtle Beach police arrested Terry for third-degree domestic violence when Simpson told police Terry broke her phone and injured her hand. This is as dangerous a person who we know is armed. Now, all this information was known to the officers prior to them coming in contact with him. But somehow, they managed not to kill him. And I would venture to guess that when the police officers came in contact with him, he complied. As a matter of fact, let's go back to the video and see if we can find out a little bit more as to what his actions were when the police came in contact with him.
When they attempted to pull over that car to see what was going on, that's when deputies say Adrian Simpson sped off, and that's when Tyler Terry started shooting from the passenger side of the car. They actually led deputies on a 20 to 30 mile high-speed chase all the way down through York County, back up to Chester near Louisville High School, and that's where we are set up right now. That is the command post right here where you see law enforcement, and from there, that's when Adrian Simpson was arrested, and she gave up Tyler Terry's name to authorities. Tyler Terry then ran off to the woods, never to be heard or seen from again.
I think Adrian Simpson, his girlfriend, was the same one that had multiple domestic violence charges against him. A very toxic relationship, clearly.
He was captured on surveillance video at a local store in the Fort Lawn area attempting to steal a utility truck, aka a small golf cart that goes about 15 miles per hour. He got near 77, ditched that truck. We were also told he sold clothes, snacks, and a loaded gun at that time as well. So at that point, deputies knew one thing was for sure, that Tyler Terry was armed, and they knew he was in the woods, and they knew this was a rural area that they did not need to send officers in blindsided, not knowing what he will do, considering his past.
They knew he was armed. And they knew that even going in, because he was already in possession of a gun because he fired at the cops when they initially stopped him.
Of all these murder charges that he is facing now, and murder, which he is accused of. And so from there, the days have gone by. There were some people saying that they saw Terry. They were not confirmed sightings by deputies. All of that changed around 2:40 yesterday afternoon in broad daylight. That is when a deputy that was on standby, his job was to make sure that he watched out to see if Tyler Terry was anywhere around the area. And guess what? The sheriff says it was a mistake on Tyler Terry's part. He ended up running across Legion Road, and when he did that, he went into the woods after being chased by that deputy. Again, it was not safe for that deputy to go behind him because he was the only one at the moment, and that's when they set up shop, set up that perimeter, and found him around 10:30 this morning, hiding behind a local plant near a power grid, hiding behind high weeds. He was laying down. The sheriff says he didn't put up a fight. He was armed. He didn't necessarily have the gun directly on him, but they did find a gun in that area.
He didn't put up a fight. Key points to take away, y'all. Key points to remember. When they came in contact with Tyler Terry, murder suspect ×4 that they know of, multiple times attempted murder, violent domestic violence offender. When they came in contact with him, shot at police. When they came in contact with him, what did he do? Didn't put up a fight. Did not put up a fight. Crucial point. Stop believing this crap nonsense narrative about the police, y'all. Stop believing it, because it is destroying communities. All these communities and cities and towns that are pushing this whole defund the police are regretting it because they see the spike in violence as a result of these bogus claims that are being forced out there against the police. What do you think about this whole Terry incident and how he was treated by those police officers? Comment down below. I want to hear what y'all think. Make sure you share my content. In the meantime, stay safe, God bless, and make sure you join the conversation.